He mocked her. Now it's her turn.
What do you think you're doing?
Just answering the question.
The dinner rush at Le Chateau Royal had already begun when Emily Carter adjusted the crisp black apron around her waist and stepped onto the polished marble floor. Crystal subscribed to my chainly chandeliers shimmered overhead, reflecting golden light across white linen tables where politicians, celebrities, and business magnates quietly discussed fortunes over expensive wine. Every waiter knew the rules of the restaurant: smile politely, never interrupt, and above all, never embarrass a guest. Emily had worked there for nearly 3 years, taking extra shifts to pay for her younger brother's university tuition after their parents passed away. Most customers noticed only her gentle smile and calm professionalism, never suspecting that behind those kind blue eyes was a woman who spoke 6 languages fluently. Her father had been a professor of comparative linguistics, and from childhood she had learned French over breakfast, German at dinner, Mandarin on weekends, and Japanese through bedtime stories. Yet Emily rarely mentioned this talent because life had taught her that humility opened more doors than pride ever could. Across the dining room, whispers suddenly spread among the staff. A convoy of black luxury SUVs had stopped outside the entrance. The maitre d' hurried toward the revolving door, straightening his tie. "He's here," someone whispered nervously. Victor Laurent. The name alone was enough to make junior employees tense. Victor Laurent, a billionaire technology investor worth nearly $12 billion, was famous not only for buying companies but for destroying reputations. Newspapers described him as brilliant, ruthless, and impossible to impress. Employees who served him often complained that he enjoyed testing people, especially those he believed were beneath him. Tonight he entered wearing a tailored charcoal suit without a single wrinkle, accompanied by 3 executives and a glamorous social media influencer whose jewelry probably cost more than Emily's apartment. Without acknowledging anyone, Victor sat at the restaurant's best table and glanced around as though evaluating whether the room itself deserved his presence. "Emily," the manager whispered urgently. "Table 1 is yours. Be careful. Don't argue with him, whatever happens." Emily simply nodded, picked up her order pad, and approached with her usual warm smile. "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Le Chateau Royal. May I begin with sparkling water or still?" Victor didn't even look at her. Instead, he exchanged a knowing smile with the executives before speaking rapidly in flawless Mandarin. "Jie zhang fu wu yuan tong chong ji wei bei kai dan. Wo men kan ta shi bu shi a chi ta ren yi yang mei yang." The executives chuckled immediately. The influencer covered her mouth while laughing. Victor continued speaking in Mandarin, deliberately louder now. "If she understands even one word, I'll personally leave $100,000 tip. But we both know she's just another waitress pretending to be sophisticated." Emily remained perfectly still, her expression calm. Nearby servers exchanged nervous glances, assuming she hadn't understood a thing. Victor leaned back confidently, clearly enjoying the discomfort he believed he had created. Then Emily gently closed her order book, met his eyes, and answered in equally fluent Mandarin. "Xian Sheng, Hen yi han rang nin shi wang le. Wo bu jin ting dong le. Ki nin de fa yin zai di san gi sheng diao sheng yu yi dian quo wu. Ru guo nin gen de yuan yi dui xian gang kai de sheng nuo. Wo shang xin kan ting wei hen gan xie na shi wan mei yuan de xiao fei. For the first time that evening, complete silence filled the restaurant. Victor's smile vanished instantly. One executive nearly dropped his wine glass. The influencer stared at Emily with her mouth open. Every nearby waiter froze. Emily had not only understood every insulting word but had politely corrected Victor's pronunciation while reminding him of the $100,000 promise. Victor blinked twice, genuinely speechless. Few people had ever challenged him so gracefully. Instead of anger, however, something unfamiliar appeared in his eyes: respect. He slowly smiled, this time sincerely. "Interesting," he finally said in English. "Very interesting." Emily maintained her professional composure. "Would you like a few more minutes to decide on your meal, sir?" Victor studied her carefully before answering. "No, I think I'd like you to recommend the chef's best dishes." Emily described each special with detailed knowledge of its ingredients, preparation, and wine pairings. She spoke confidently without sounding arrogant. Victor listened far more attentively than anyone expected. When she finished taking the order, he stopped her before she walked away. "Where did you learn Mandarin?" Emily replied simply, "My father believed every language is another way of understanding humanity." Then she excused herself and headed toward the kitchen. The executives immediately leaned toward Victor. "You actually got outplayed," one whispered. Another laughed quietly. "That's the first employee I've ever seen make you speechless." Victor ignored them, watching Emily disappear through the swinging kitchen doors. Something about her calm dignity unsettled him. Most people either feared him or tried desperately to impress him. Emily had done neither. 20 minutes later she returned with appetizers presented flawlessly. During the meal Victor intentionally switched between French, Japanese, German, and Italian while asking increasingly complicated questions about culture, literature, and history. Each time Emily answered effortlessly, never showing off, never embarrassing him, simply responding with quiet confidence. Guests at neighboring tables gradually noticed the unusual conversation. Even the restaurant manager watched nervously from across the room. By dessert, Victor finally asked the question everyone wondered. "Why are you working as a waitress?" Emily smiled softly. "Because honest work is honorable work. My job doesn't define my education or my character." Those words struck Victor harder than he expected. Throughout his life he had judged people almost entirely by titles, wealth, and influence. Yet this young woman possessed more intelligence and grace than many CEOs he had invested millions in. Before leaving, Victor requested the bill. Emily placed the leather folder gently on the table. Without hesitation, Victor removed a fountain pen and wrote several numbers before signing his name. The manager gasped when he opened the folder moments later. The tip was exactly $100,000. Every employee stared in disbelief. Beneath the signature Victor had written one short sentence: "A promise should always be honored." Emily thanked him politely, believing the extraordinary evening had finally ended. But as Victor reached the restaurant entrance, he paused, turned around, and walked back toward her. The dining room fell silent once more. "Miss Carter," he said loud enough for everyone to hear, "I owe you an apology. Tonight I attempted to humiliate you because I assumed your uniform reflected your intelligence. Instead, you reminded me that true class has nothing to do with money." Emily smiled kindly. "We all make assumptions, Mr. Laurent. What matters is whether we learn from them." Victor nodded thoughtfully before handing her an elegant black business card embossed only with his name. "If you ever grow tired of serving tables, call me. My international foundation desperately needs someone who understands people as well as languages." Emily accepted the card but slipped it into her apron without even looking at it. "Thank you, sir. For now, I'm exactly where I need to be." Victor laughed quietly, perhaps for the first genuine time in months. As he walked toward the exit, he realized the most valuable lesson of the year had not come from a boardroom, an acquisition, or a billion-dollar negotiation. It had come from a waitress who never needed wealth to prove her worth. Behind the restaurant windows, the city lights shimmered across the streets while Emily returned to serving the next table with the same warm smile she offered every guest. None of the new customers knew that moments earlier one of the world's richest men had tried to mock her in a foreign language and had instead discovered the rarest quality money could never buy: quiet dignity backed by extraordinary wisdom. Victor climbed into his waiting limousine, but before the door closed, he looked back one final time through the restaurant's glass entrance. For reasons he could not explain, he knew this encounter was not the end of the story, it was only the beginning.